Welcome to In Good Company, where relationships drive results, with your host, Lisa Kilray. In each episode, we explore how great leaders build trust, inspire teams, and turn meaningful connections into real success.
Hi, I'm Lisa Kilray, host of In Good Company, where relationships drive results. Today's episode is sponsored by WSI eResults. We help manufacturers and B2B organizations build the strategic foundation they need for AI-driven digital growth. Our work spans digital strategy, SEO, content development, and multi-channel digital programs designed to drive measurable bottom-line results. A client who has worked with us for a few years recently told us they're so happy they started working with us when they did. And the reason they told us that is because they are now getting leads from throughout the world from qualified buyers for their multi-million-dollar pieces of equipment. To learn more about WSI, visit www.wsi-manufacturing-marketing.com. That's wsi-manufacturing-marketing.com. Entrepreneurship often begins with the ability to recognize opportunity before others see it. Many of the most successful entrepreneurs build companies by identifying emerging technologies early and figuring out how those innovations can become practical solutions for businesses and consumers. That process requires not only technical insight, but also the relationships and partnerships needed to bring new ideas to market. Today, I'm fortunate to be joined by Laurent Cohen. Laurent is what I call serial entrepreneur with more than 30 years of experience building and scaling businesses across Europe and the United States. He's the founder of GetOblic, a voice-first AI directory designed to deploy pre-trained AI receptionists at scale for local businesses. Laurent's work focuses on AI distribution, leverage-driven growth, and turning emerging technologies into real-world infrastructure. Laurent, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Lisa. I'm very excited to have a discussion with you.
Awesome. So let's just kind of start with some questions, put a name to a face, learn a little bit more behind your titles and your previous experiences I went through. So you've spent more than 3 decades building and scaling companies, correct?
Yes, Lisa. Yes. A long story across multiple countries. Yeah.
Yeah. So how did your entrepreneurial journey first begin?
I believe that very early on, I found out that being very creative, I needed some room to express myself. And that room could not be obtained in the constraint of business that is very well structured. I've had a couple of years early on after my studies to find out that it was definitely not something I could just live. And when you have that creativity, you just need to build stuff. And the way I always do things is bootstrapping. My comfort place is from 0 to 50. When things get too structured, when the politics of a company starts to put into places, that's where I just leave and move on into the next project.
I can relate to that. I would say the politics and structure were something that really got in the way of the way I worked and was productive also, and one of the key drivers for going into business for myself way back. So I can certainly relate to that. So was there a particular moment early on in your career when you realized you wanted to build businesses rather than follow that traditional path?
It came probably, and funny enough, because I really started working in the digital realm in 2002 when I moved to the US. But when I founded my first company in France in 1993, was coincidentally the same time I had my first internet connection. And I don't know, I just knew the moment I got that connection, the first HTML page I built for fun, I knew something was happening here. I had that real, I was not the only one, obviously, but really I had a sense of what was coming toward us. And that gave me, it empowered me. It gave me a sense of freedom that I didn't have before. Although my business was not centered around the internet, it was centered around the environmental field. You know, getting to have access to worldwide information, you know, be open-minded, be again a lot creative, really put everything into perspective and allow me to take my my flight.
Yep. So entrepreneurship often involves recognizing opportunities before they're obvious to others. What experience shaped how you identify those opportunities today, or how did you identify those before they were on anybody else's radar?
It all comes down to gut feeling, to intuition. That's something, I'm 54 now. I think I've always had, it was one of my good assets, having a very strong intuition. And that's also something that got lost along the way. I'd say in my mid 30s, 40s, early 40s, when, you know, again, I was blessed enough to have successful companies, and being surrounded with enablers in your companies, you know, or people that put not things into perspective for you. You kind of put aside your own intuition. And I'd have to say that in my whole career, every time I didn't listen to my gut, I failed. It's kind of crazy to say that, right? But you have intuition or you don't. You know, I don't
Yes.
think you become someone intuitive. You are or you are not. And I'm pretty sure you can live without intuition, because you can have great skills and be a performer, you know. But my intuition always drove me to everything I've built. I have a sense when I have something that comes to my head that is going to be successful in that. And as far as I know, I've been lucky enough for that to work every time.
You know, there is a little bit of luck that gets worked into success, but that's not usually the crux of someone's success. So you must have good intuition, because others, while they may not have any intuition, others might have bad intuition. So it sounds like you've got that right combination of good intuition and good decisions. So you've built companies across multiple decades of technological change. I mean, you said your first company was in 1993. Is that what you said?
Yes.
And here we are in 2026. So from your perspective, things clearly things have changed significantly. How has the pace of innovation changed over the years to help you with your success?
I'd say that some things change and some do not change. First
Okay.
of all, when a new technology comes up, there's always this period of fear of you know, discarding the technology for things that are bad with themselves, you know. And that's also the moment of opportunity for me. When everybody's scared, that's where I drive and I just jump into it. So I'd say that the main difference from 1993 till now is not really how new technology come up and function. It's probably the cycles. And when I say the cycles, very early on, especially with everything related to digital, I found out that those cycles were approximately 7 years. You know, 1993 first connection, you know, 2000 beginning of Google, 2007 social media, 2015 video streaming. You know, 2022 you have LLMs, agent, and conversational AI. But now the thing that had changed tremendously is not only the cycle I've reduced, but I do not think there's any cycle anymore. I think that the last cycle was yesterday, and a new one that's probably started today and will be over tomorrow. So it changes a lot the way you see things, but also it changes it a lot in a good way. Everybody that I've mentored for years uh, that came to me for saying that, oh, I'm so desperate, I've messed I've missed the Google era. I've missed the SEO era. I've missed the social media era. I always used to say, it's like being seated at a train station. There's always another train coming. Do not worry. Well, now there's a train every minute. So opportunities are just knocking at your door, and you just need to be open-minded and have the main quality that are needed to solve AI, which are for me problem solving and adjusting the information that you receive and understanding that they need to be transformed and not just injected in what you do. And then you get a winner.
Right. So there's always a faster train coming into the station. If you want to hop on it, that's up to you. Artificial intelligence clearly is what's driving this today, and is one of the most important technology shifts happening. Where do you think most people are still misunderstanding the real impact AI will have on their business?
I think you have to put AI in perspective, because I do not think AI is a tool. And I've understood that clearly about 6 months ago when I really started working with AI. I thought I was working with AI before, but it was not until I had 25 agents working for me that I understood what AI was. And for me, AI, again, is not a tool. I like to compare it to money. I think both of them are currencies. Money in itself is neither good nor bad, but it's an enabler. And AI is just the same. AI is not something bad, but it enables you, and we've all heard of those cacophony effect, that AI has, but it doesn't change a person. It just emphasizes who the person is. So if you're a good person, you're going to be a better person with AI for sure. If you're disorganized, you're going to be probably even more disorganized. So in that sense, it's very close to money. And also, money as a currency allows you to buy resources. You can hire people. Allows you to buy commodities. And also it allows you to find a place in the community. Well, AI is the same. The resources you buy are AI agents. The commodities you buy with your token is mainly knowledge, but it's the commodity today that has value among anything. And also those tokens and the amount of AI that you're going to accumulate and use is going to, in the digital realm, make you a much more powerful person. So those two things are very much related. And if you understand that, and if you understand what we did with money, which was financial education, something that people have understood a long time ago. If you have financial education, you're going to be successful. If you don't have financial education, you're going to have problems, right? Where is the same with AI? If you have AI education, you're going to be successful. And if you don't understand how AI think and work, you're going to have big problems. That is why I tell everyone with AI that education is not learning how to use AI. It's learning what is AI, how it relates to you, how it communicates with you. Because the learning part is easy, It's just problem solving, understanding how it works, and then you're going to be safe.
Right. I completely agree with that. So looking ahead, how do you see AI reshaping how companies operate over the next decade?
Well, first of all, when you work with AI, and especially like I do with small and local businesses, it's an extraordinary growth machine. Take voice AI, the things we are building today. You can literally hire an AI receptionist that will work 24/7, talk tens of languages, will have a steady emotion, and will also understand the emotion of the people it's speaking to. All those things were literally inaccessible for small companies. You could not pay a call center or having 3 or 4 person working 7 days a week, 24/7. Now you can achieve that. And it brings the company, small company, from the emergency mode, the moment mode, to the growth mode, which were things that were available for medium and large size company only. So in that aspect, again, AI is not a threat to small businesses. It's a growth machine. So that's the number one thing that comes to my mind. Now, the second one is that voice AI, and especially voice in general, is going to be the number one and main communication layer between humans and machines. Think about it. When Elon's going to drop the billions of robots, humanoid promised, we're going to interact with them with our voice. And the danger of this initially is that when you have voice interaction with a machine, you don't have that, asynchronized moments where you analyze what you do. It becomes a human relation, and that's where you have to be very careful. So you have to have safeguards in the way you treat voice AI. You have to have guardrails, fallbacks, all the things that are necessary to keep us as a species safe from the machines. But I think voice is going to be front and center of everything that's going to happen in the future. And I'd say in a certain way that people think that voice AI now are only receptionists. But I believe every single agent, and they're going to be billions of AI agents in the future, everyone will have a voice. So we're going to be interacting voice only. And that's going to change dramatically everything we do.
Yeah, that's really interesting when you think about it. Not just from a receptionist perspective, but what about drive-through restaurants, fast food restaurants? Why are there people standing there still? That could be a robot. That could be a voice-activated AI-generated order taker. That gets automatically pushed back to the cooks. So we're getting into a little bit about what your current company does. GetOblic, is that how you say it? GetOblic?
It does. GetOblic.
Yeah. Okay. So for listeners who may not be familiar with the company, how do you describe what they do? You've kind of gone into it a tiny bit.
Yeah, no, there's probably a lot of people have heard already about voice AI and what it can do. But we decided to go a step further the moment we understood that in order to integrate AI in general, and especially voice AI in small and local business, the main hurdle would not be technology. The technology in itself is very mature. It's trust, the foundation of what those companies have built upon, the trust between the solopreneur or a single operating business with its customers. And the voice in itself, and I'm not only talking about the voice coming out of the mouth, but talking about also the personality that is the one of the owner is front and center in everything he does. So when you decide to ask a company to build a voice AI, that's a trust moment that needs to be very much respected. In order to do that, we decided to have an approach that is quite original. And we've created a directory where any business listing can create a page within less than 2 minutes. And immediately, a voice AI pre-trained will be deployed, usable, and fully working. So now you have a company that has never used voice AI that can already test its own voice AI for free on our page. So now we're creating trust. We're building trust with the company. And all those things lead to the moment they decide to expand the usage of voice AI into their workflow, whether it's on a phone line, on their WhatsApp, with a little snippet on the website. And then they can subscribe to our service and receive a voice AI that will be integrated 360 within their workflow.
Interesting. So are your voice AI agents, are they basically functioning as the first line of a receptionist, or are they getting into more in-depth question answer conversations?
Oh, it's as now a lot more already like question and answers. Obviously, it responds to any question that comes up, but it can schedule appointments. It can forward call. And we have something also very interesting at GetOblic is the fact that we have as now 1.8 million voice agents that are deployed. We have hundreds of minutes per day of interaction. And all those interactions become use case. And those use cases are used to train even more each one of our agents. So we really created a voice layer graph of information that allows our voice AI to be extremely well trained. So let's say company A has a use case that's very original and rare. Now this use case is going to be implemented with every other voice AI, and every voice AI will be ready to treat that use case. So we're getting to a certain level of training that is very performant and very interesting.
Interesting. So is your platform as sophisticated or sophisticated enough to handle multi-location businesses where people are calling for all different types of reasons? It could be employment verification. It could be to get a quote. It could be, to ask about an invoice. I mean, can your system route and handle that level of complexity?
We have not created our voice AI to be fully CRM integrated. Those are a lot more structured and customized tools. We are the first layer. We are the entry door to the world of voice AI. And obviously, it comes also along with a very fair price.
Right.
Anybody that is subscribing to our service will pay $59 a month for unlimited calls and minutes. And that covers a lot. But obviously, if one is interested into developing a much more customized voice AIs, there's a lot of companies that do it very, very well.
Right. So what problem are you solving for those businesses that are taking advantage of your product?
Freedom. Freedom is number one problem we're solving. Let's say you have a hair salon. You come in the morning, Monday morning at 8, you have a full day of work, 20 customers, phone keeps ringing, first you need a filtering agent because half of those calls are totally useless and spam. Then you got people calling to say they're going to be late or they need to reschedule. Those things can be treated easily. Then you have opportunities that comes up at 7 p.m. when you're home with your family or during the weekend. And we live in the moment era, the moment where if someone doesn't answer, you go to the competitor. So all those things can be have a solution. The solution is voice AI. We used to have answering machine; they worked well. We used to have chatbots; they worked well. But now voice AI has a layer of interaction, immediate interaction, emotion that creates something that goes way beyond whatever existed before.
Great. So many small businesses struggle to adopt technologies. How does a platform like GetOblic help make AI more accessible for them?
A big plug and play. That's very easy.
Plug and play.
Yeah, you need the absolute passion and obsession that we have is reducing the friction. So in order to reduce that friction, you need to make sure that the AI is going to be available immediately, can be updated in the easiest way possible. This is why we achieve with GetOblic. Everything is already deployed even before you pay the cent. And you can just go to the back end of the directory, add any information, the monthly discount, the name of the new person you hired, whatever, you just type it and your AI is going to be even more trained on your information. That should be easy, needs to be easy.
Right, that's very cool. So, Laurent, one of the themes of the show is the role relationships play in business success. Throughout your entrepreneurial journey, how important have relationships and partnerships been in building your companies?
I would answer in a way that may surprise you, but my introduction to the subject would be I've always put a lot of importance to my family and my life. And I very quickly understood that having a business partner for me was not necessarily a way to grow the company more, but to give me access to a lot more freedom. That might be counterintuitive to your audience, but believe me, I've been blessed for years to have trusting partners that allow me to travel the world for 2 months during the year with my laptop, not worrying about what's going to happen in the company.
Right.
And at a moment in time, you can choose to be the next Mark Zuckerberg and create billions and working 24/7, or you can choose to have a very decent life. And I've chose the latter. and having someone working with me that I could trust was really important for me. So yeah, I would say that's the way I've always, and I still do actually. Yesterday, that it doesn't mean they don't work; they work. But I also give me the freedom just to think. When you can rely on someone that is very an operator, you as a creative person, need some time to think. You need to be able to walk, to travel, to see the world, and come back with fresh ideas. And that's what I've always done.
That's awesome. I love that. So obviously, entrepreneurs often rely on networks of investors, advisors, and collaborators. What advice would you give founders about building strong professional relationships?
First of all, and that's also I'm not crazy about raising money, to be honest, especially at the really beginning. I mean, and especially again in the AI era, there's absolutely no reason to raise money, and that can be a trap too. I've done it once, and I regretted it. The constriction, the stress that you have of working with low resources in your business, makes it so exciting and allows you to put so much energy into work and learning that this is where growth happens, being constrained by money. Having too much money can be a pain. You start to hire people and you spend time in finding out how you're going to trade them. All this time in the AI era is energy you could put into building your product and building your relationship with your customers. So I would say to anyone, bootstrap, work, open your computer, work 14 hours a day. Now, you also have to get the mindset that will allow you to understand that when you reach a certain threshold and you need to be surrounded and you may need more money, now it's time to come and to ask people money. But that moment in time is exactly the moment you already going to have produced something. You probably already have some profits. And the moment you ask money, your company will already be valuable. So that's how I do it. And the way to approach it is exactly the same. Let people hear about you. Talk on LinkedIn, do posts. Just be transparent. Put out your number. And someone will start knocking at your door. Eventually.
Yeah. So, Laurent, this has been a really awesome conversation about entrepreneurship, technology, and innovation. Before we wrap up, where is the best place for listeners to learn more about GetOblic or connect with you personally?
I'd like first to thank you, Lisa. It was a real pleasure having a
You're
discussion
welcome.
with you. And anyone can go to getoblic.com. And if you have a business, just open a listing. It takes 2 minutes. You create a listing, you will have your own voice AI, you interact with it, and it's all free. So just play with it. And if anybody has a question or wants to know more about AI or voice AI, you have a lot of social media on the footer of getoblic.com. Anybody can go there, send me a message, and I'll be around and I'll be answering very quickly.
Okay. And then how about you personally? Are you on LinkedIn?
I am on LinkedIn. I'll provide
Okay.
you the link. Laurent Cohen USA is my anchor.
Okay. We'll be sure to include those links in the show notes. I always like to close each episode with one reflective question. When you look back on your career, who is one person who had a lasting impact on how you approach entrepreneurship or leadership today?
By far, my father. My father was a self-made man, and that gave him strength, and also he was a tough person, very tough. So initially, early on in my career, it helped me a lot, and I could say, and it would take hours to talk about him. God bless him, but every time I was getting too soft, he always had a way to straighten my back. So
Oh, that's
I'd say
great.
my father by far.
Oh, that's great. That's great. So, if there's one takeaway from today's conversation, it's this: innovation may begin with an idea, but turning that idea into a successful business requires leadership, persistence, and the relationships that help bring those ideas to life. Laurent, thank you for joining us today. And to our listeners, thank you for spending time with us. I look forward to being in good company with you again next time. Have a great rest of the day.
Thanks for listening to In Good Company, where relationships drive results, with Lisa Kilray. Be sure to follow or subscribe so you never miss an episode. Until next time, stay connected and keep building relationships that drive results.